What's going on there, YouTube? Welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, so we're going to continue our coverage over the X-Men, right? And so we're going to pick up with some good old X-Force, but actually a crossover with X-Force and also New Warriors. You see, in the 1990s, for the X-Men, they had crossover a lot with some other titles like Spider-Man, New Warriors, and the list goes on. And so for X-Force, it's kind of like, hey, here is another crossover, but at the same time, we're still continuing the whole big storyline involving the Upstart organization. Now, we have talked about the Upstart organization before, but just real quick, here's a quick reminder of who they are. The Upstart organization is a group of people who go out of their way to kill off other mutants. And the reason why, because they receive points in their organization when they kill off mutants. And matter of fact, the more points you get, the higher you are in the rankings. Now, if you kill off a more powerful mutant, then you receive a whole lot more points than usual. Now, the leader of the entire organization is a character known as Game Master. He makes the rules, and he's the one that says, hey guys, here are your new targets if you want to receive more points when it comes to the organization. And so he's the man in charge. Now, for Game Master, he's also a omnipath, meaning that his mind is connected to all the minds across the world. He knows what everyone is feeling and also thinking as well. Now, the Upstart organization is going to play a major role in the storyline. Well, they are the main bad guys of this book, so they should play a major role in this storyline. But getting into X-Force issue number 32 as the first chapter for today's video, we do pick up in Nova Roma. Now, Nova Roma is a small country out in South America. Now, here's the catch. They have believed for a very long time that they were a colony of the Roman Empire. And so they were kind of living like ancient Rome people did back in the day, not knowing that, well, their minds have been played with by a character known as Selene. And so thanks to some characters, they were able to find out the actual truth of their origin, that you're not part of the Roman Empire at all. And matter of fact, that's been gone for a very long time. And so right now you have the people of Nova Roma trying to move on from the day they were believing they were part of the Roman Empire. Now, the reason why we're going over to Nova Roma is because of a character known as Magma. Now, for Magma, she has been around for a good while. Matter of fact, she was part of the New Mutants in the early days and also part of the Hellions as well. Now, after leaving both teams, she went back home to Nova Roma. Now, like I said, the people out there believed that they were part of the Roman Empire, but you didn't have the people find out that that's not true at all. And matter of fact, you had all these different people begin to learn their true origins, like Magma did. She began to learn that she's probably from Great Britain. Now, with that being said, she's still out there in Nova Roma trying to relearn how to use her powers, but also kind of wondering what is the next move for her life and the people of Nova Roma as well, as they try to go back to the old lives they had before coming to this country. Now, while you have Magma trying to relearn how to use her powers, that is when she is attacked by the Von Strucker twins. Now, we have talked about them before. They're just two characters who are also mutants, but they can only use their ability when they hold hands with one another. Now, with that being said, they're also part of the Upstart organization. So they came here to capture Magma. Now, usually, if you're part of the Upstart organization and if you're going after somebody for points, you go ahead and kill off that person. But this time, things are being done differently. You see, for the Von Strucker twins, they have to capture Magma first and then bring her over to Game Master. And so we see the two characters being able to depower Magma and officially capture her. But before they're able to leave with her, you have the different Upstart agents who are there with them to help capture Magma begin to attack the Von Strucker twins. And the reason why, because they're being controlled by a character known as Empath. You see, when it came to Magma coming back home, she brought home a friend, somebody who was beginning to fall in love with her. And that'll be the character known as Empath, who has the ability to control other people's emotions. And so you have Empath thinking that he should be able to control the emotions of the different agents who came along with the Von Strucker twins to attack the Von Strucker twins to give him enough time to hopefully save Magma. But unfortunately, he was not able to pull the plan off. And so he has no choice but to go ahead and retreat and hopefully get away from the Von Strucker twins. But now we have to jump over to the Hellfire Club. Now, the Hellfire Club has been gone for a good while in our coverage over the X-Men for a lot of reasons, but the main ones because you had Shinobi Shaw, the son of Sebastian Shaw, kill off his own father and kind of did destroy the whole idea of the Hellfire Club. Now, for Shinobi, when he had killed off his father, he had received a lot of points for the Upstart organization. So technically right now, he's at the very top. But he was the one that brought back the Hellfire Club. Now, there is an issue we had skipped over that kind of showed the return of the Hellfire Club. And don't worry, we're going to cover it, but it takes place right at the same time as this storyline was coming out as well. And so unfortunately, we're going to skip that book for now and come back to it later on. Now, when it comes to Shinobi Shaw, like I said, he brought back the Hellfire Club, but he also invited two members of the New Warriors. And that would be two characters known as Justice and also Night Thrasher. Now, these two characters came here for different reasons. You see, for Night Thrasher, who's also part of the New Warriors, he was invited here because the dude has money, and Shinobi Shaw only invited people who got that money. Now, for Justice, he went undercover as a way to get close to Shinobi Shaw, to kind of learn more about what he's actually up to. Now, for Justice, he was able to learn that for Shinobi Shaw and the rest of the Upstart organization, they're going after the surviving members of the Hellions, because most of the team was killed off in the earlier parts of our coverage over the X-Men. But it's not just the Hellions, they're also going after the people who were part of the New Mutants as well. And matter of fact, we got to jump over to X-Force because two people who were part of the New Mutants have been kidnapped. And that would be Cannonball and also Boom Boom. You see, in the 1990s, you had those two characters go over to Kentucky to spend some time with Cannonball's mother. And the reason why, because Cannonball and Boom Boom were a couple in the early mid-1990s. So it got to a point where it was time for her to meet his mother. But the problem was, while being out there, they were attacked by a different member of the Upstart organization. And that would be Sienna Blaze. Now, I'm not going to sit down and try to re-explain everything about this character. Just know that for Sienna Blaze, she is the newest member to the Upstart organization, and she already failed twice when it came to getting points in the Upstart organization. She went after the leaders of the X-Men, Storm, Cyclops, and Charles Xavier, and she had failed there, and she went after Moira McTaggart, but being stopped by Excalibur. But this time, she came after Cannonball and also Boom Boom. Now, like I said earlier, for all these different members of the New Mutants and Hellions, they're not being killed off right at the start of battle. They're being knocked out and taken away because they're going to be killed off later on. And so when Sienna Blaze had arrived there, she had knocked out Cannonball, knocked out Boom Boom, and took them away. But she had no idea that she was being watched by a sibling of Cannonball, and that would be Paige. And so Paige ran home, told her mom, they called up X-Force, and now X-Force is wondering what in the world happened to their two teammates. Now, for Cable, he said, listen, we had used our sensors, and unfortunately, we can't find them anywhere across the world at all. And that could be one or three things. One, they're possibly dead. Two, they're off-world. Or three, somebody is trying to cloak them. But either way, Cannonball and also Boom Boom have been officially kidnapped. But now we have to jump over to Game Master. Now, when we do, we see that it is Game Master right now using his mind as a way to cloak both Cannonball and Boom Boom so that nobody will be able to find them. Now, with that being said, we also see him calling in another meeting with the different members of the Upstart organization. Now, for this meeting, is really him saying, like, hey, listen, here's your new goals right now. I need you guys to go out there and hunt down the different mutants who were part of the New Mutants, but also part of the Hellions as well, and bring them back over to me. Don't kill them, just bring them back over to me. Now, we do see that some of the older members of the Upstart organization is beginning to kind of hate on Game Master. And the reason why, because he was kind of only brought in to be a referee for the whole entire organization. But as time has changed, he began to become more of the actual leader of the entire organization and kind of bossing them around. And they don't like that. But either way, they do now have their new assignment to go after the New Mutants and after the Hellions as well and bring them back over to him. But now we have to jump over to Empath. Now, when we do, we see that Empath is still trying to run away from the Von Strucker twins. The problem is he runs over to a crowd of people who were trying to leave the life behind of being part of Nova Roma and trying to transition back into their old lives again. Except when they turn around, they see that Empath is being followed and being attacked. And by the time they realize what's happening to him, some of them get killed off by the Von Strucker twins. Now, it does kind of look like that Empath is going to get captured by the Von Strucker twins. But luckily for him, somebody else arrives, and that would be Moonstar. Now remember, Danny Moonstar, for some strange reason, had joined the Mutant Liberation Front, and we have not been told why just yet. But either way, she does arrive just in time to save the life of Empath. Now, for a brief moment, I want to jump back over to Cable. And the reason why, because you have Cable talking to the mother of Cannonball, Sam Guthrie. Now, here's the thing. His father died a long time ago, and he has a lot of siblings. So it's just his mom trying her best to take care of all of her kids. Now, she hated the idea of Sam leaving, joining the New Mutants, but also being part of some kind of mutant war, as she calls it. Now, for her, she's also hating the idea of the possibility that she might lose another child, and that would be Paige. Paige might also be leaving her home soon to go be part of this mutant war, because Paige is also a mutant. And matter of fact, she does leave the home and become a member of the X-Men known as Husk. But right now it's kind of like building up to the idea of her possibly leaving and might be joining X-Force down the road. But then you have Cable get called away. And the reason why, because Domino and the rest of X-Force with him and her are being confronted by Fitzroy, another member of the Upstart organization. And he's there to, well, kill off X-Force, but to also grab Warpath and grab Richter as well, because those two characters were part of the Hellions and the New Mutants. But we have to jump over to Shinobi Shaw because, like I said earlier, for Shinobi Shaw, he has no idea that Justice, who's part of the New Warriors, is really undercover to get close to him to kind of learn what the Upstart organization is up to. And so for Justice, he got his assignment from Shinobi Shaw to go after somebody that he cares a whole lot for, and that would be Firestar, Justice's girlfriend, but also somebody who was part of the Hellions in the past. And so Shinobi saying, hey, listen, I know you love her and all, but I need you to bring her over to me. It's the only way to protect her, but to also help me out as well. And so you have Justice leave to go back over to the New Warriors to hopefully grab Firestar. Now we have to jump over to New Warriors issue number 45. Now, for this issue, we do pick up with the 3 people who have been captured so far by the different members of the Upstart organization. So, like Boom Boom, Cannonball, and also Magma as well. Now, you do have Game Master going out of his way to explain what he's actually up to. Like, hey, you know what? I kidnapped you three guys to bring y'all over here because y'all are my latest targets. You and the rest of the New Mutants are out there, but also the rest of the Hellions as well. And so for our heroes, they're kind of wondering, what in the world is this Game Master character thinking of? Because for Cannonball and also Boom Boom, they have not really had the chance to be confronted by the members of the Upstart organization like the other teams out there have so far. And so for Cannonball and Boom Boom, and even Magma, this is all new to them. But now we have to jump over to the New Warriors. Now, when it comes to the New Warriors, they're kind of expressing the fact that they're very upset with their leader, Night Thrasher. And the reason why, because he did not tell the rest of the team that Justice has gone undercover as a way to get close to Shinobi Shaw. You see, for Shinobi Shaw, they had learned that he was helping out the Friends of Humanity. And that group right there, their main goal is to kill off the mutant race. But it made no sense for Shinobi Shaw to be working with that kind of group at all. But with that being said, with Justice being undercover, he was able to get close enough to figure out that the Upstart organization is going after the different members of the New Mutants and the different members of the Hellions as well. Now, something else I should also mention is that when it comes to Shinobi Shaw, he had the ability to blackmail Justice to have Justice work for him. But either way, it's Night Thrasher now saying like, look, now we know that sooner or later they're coming after you, Firestar, because you were a member of the Hellions, which means that we have to be on our A game. Now, this section is also being used as a way to say like the entire team's getting new outfits. And the reason why I'm saying that, because you have Speedball being very upset about the idea the rest of the team got brand new outfits except for him, and then out of nowhere his powers give him a newer outfit. It was so random, but like at the same time I still had to just go ahead and mention it. But while you have the New Warriors talking to one another, they're then confronted by Tribunal. Now, Tribunal is actually Graydon Creed, the son of Mystique and also Sabretooth, who also is part of the Upstart organization. So, of course, he's there to go get Firestar. But now we have to transition over to Moonstar and also Empath. Now they had left Nova Roma and they had went over to Madripoor. And while being there, their main goal is to hopefully find Karma, another member of the New Mutants who has been there for a good while actually. But while there, they're then confronted by Sienna Blaze. Now, again, is Sienna Blaze just coming after different people who are part of the New Mutants and the Hellions? Now, at first, it did look like we're going to have a battle between her and Moonstar and also Empath. But we don't, because you do have Karma being able to take over her mind to shut her down. So our three heroes are able to continue on with their game plan, which, matter of fact, we have no idea what that game plan is just yet. It kind of seems like just go around collecting different members of the New Mutants and also the Hellions as well. But now we can jump back over to the New Warriors. Now, when we do, we see the New Warriors fighting against the different members of Graydon Creed's army. Because again, he's Tribunal, but he brought other guys along with him to fight against the New Warriors to hopefully capture Firestar. Either way, you do have our heroes being able to bring down the entire group. Now, at the end of the section, you didn't have Justice appear. Now, for Firestar, she's very happy to see the man that she loves, but at the same time, she's still mad at him because, again, he went undercover and no one told her nor the rest of the team that he'll be going undercover to work very close to Shinobi Shaw. Now, for Justice, he tells Firestar the only way to kind of get closer to Shinobi and also the Upstart organization's plan is to go ahead and sacrifice the life of Firestar. Now, not technically give up her life, but it kind of seems like if he does hand her over to Shinobi Shaw in the Upstart organization, then she's going to die. But in reality, he'll try his best to do whatever he can to protect the woman that he loves. Now, with all that being said, you didn't have Justice bring Firestar over to Shinobi Shaw. Now, for Shinobi, he believes that his room is so protected that when it comes to Game Master, he should not be able to listen in on his conversation with him and also Justice. But in reality, Game Master can still hear everything going on, kind of seeing that for Shinobi Shaw, he has something up his sleeve. Now, before Game Master is kind of able to continue on to listen in, he's then confronted by Sienna Blaze. Now, when it comes to Sienna Blaze, she was able to capture Karma, Moonstar, and also Empath. Now, for Sienna Blaze here, she's technically in the lead because now she was able to capture at least 5 mutants. Now, Game Master told everyone earlier, if you just capture them, I'll give you points as well. Points like you actually had killed them off. And so for Sienna Blaze here, even though she only captured them, they're being counted as 5 kills at the moment. But either way, it's kind of confusing because we saw earlier that Karma took her down, but apparently something happened where you had Karma lose and also Moonstar and, well, Empath. And so with all 3 characters, including Cannonball, Magma, and also Boom Boom, that's now 6 characters with Game Master being his hostages. And so now we have to dive into the 3rd chapter. Now, when we do, we pick up with X-Force taking on Fitzroy. Now, for Fitzroy, he truly believes that he has the chance to take down X-Force on his own. Guys, that is a huge mistake. And here's the reason why. Because for Fitzroy, he has this sidekick known as Bentam. And I really hope I pronounced that name correctly. Now, for Bentam, he's a sidekick of Fitzroy, but like a weak sidekick, where when it comes to anybody having a conversation with him, he's always scared of the other person. And so for Warpath, not Thunderbird, you have Warpath being able to scare Bentam just good enough to get all the info he needed about Fitzroy and how to bring him down. Now, when it comes to Fitzroy, he has the ability to open up portals, but there is a catch. To allow himself to open up a portal, he has to drain people's life energy or his own life energy to open up portals. And so for Cable, he knows that this is a perfect game plan to figure out where possibility the rest of the X-Force team is at, the ones who got captured, Cannonball and also Boom Boom. And so you had Cable kind of fake his arm to look like a regular human being arm. And the reason why, because for Cable, let's not forget that half of his body is techno-organic. It's not human flesh. And so when it comes to Fitzroy, when he tries to grab Cable's metal arm, he believes at first that he is grabbing a human flesh arm, but in reality, he's grabbing a techno-organic arm. And so unfortunately for Fitzroy, he's not able to absorb the life energy of Cable. But because Fitzroy did activate his powers have no choice but to go ahead and absorb his own life energy. And so when he does that, he does open up a portal. And so you have X-Force take that portal, hoping that it could possibly lead them back to the rest of their team that have been captured so far. Now, right after you have X-Force leave, you did have Paige, the sister to Sam, wanting to also leave as well because she wants to use her mutant abilities as a way to help out the mutant race, to help out her brother. Now, for her mother, she's all like, please don't go, stay here. I already lost 1 child to this war. But for Paige, she believes she has to go as well. Now, something I want to mention for Paige is that she does not truly know what her power is just yet. She believes that she is a mutant because her brother is one. Honestly, she is a mutant, but she has no idea what that power is. And unfortunately for us, we're not going to find out for a good while here, it seems like. Now, let's jump back over to Justice, who's still pretending to work for Shinobi Shaw, who's also trying to portray Game Master. But for Justice, he's also trying to portray Shinobi Shaw. There's a whole lot of portrayal here. But either way, once you have Justice bring Firestar over to the home of Game Master, you have Game Master tell Justice that he knows that he was planning on trying to portray Shinobi, who was also trying to portray him. And And so you have Game Master say, if you are Shinobi try to come after me, I'm going to tell you right now, attack on me is attack on your friends because their minds and bodies are now connected to me. And we see all the different people that have been captured so far have now been hooked to some kind of machine that is connected to Game Master. But now we have to jump over to the New Warriors. Now, when we do, we see the New Warriors going over to the base that belongs to Graydon Creed. Now, earlier I had said that Graydon Creed was there at the base of the New Warriors fighting against him. And that was not true at all. It was actually his guards who were there. Instead, he stayed behind. But you have the New Warriors going over to his base now to say like, hey, listen, your guards, your agents, they had failed when it comes to fighting against us. But now we are here to ask you some questions like, hey, where in the world is our friends at? We know that you have some info on where in the world you have our friends being held at. Now, for Graydon Creed, at first, he's not trying to give any kind of information at all until you have the New Warriors go out of their way to blackmail him and say, listen, you're part of the Friends of Humanity, and they hate mutants. Their main goal is to kill off the mutant race. But here's the big catch, though. You see, you're also working with the Upstart organization, a group of mutants. What would happen if the Friends of Humanity finds out that you are working for or helping a group of mutants out? And so just like that, he begins to give the New Warriors all the info they need or all the info he has on him. But getting back over to X-Force, they were able to use the portal that Fitzroy had made to go over to the home of Shinobi Shaw. Now for Shinobi Shaw, he feels like that our hero should not be able to attack him at all thanks to his mutant ability. But unfortunately for him, Domino has the right weapons to bring him down if she wants to. And so he has no choice but to go ahead and share the location of where Game Master and all their friends being held at. And so just like that, he gives them that info as well. So you now have both teams begin to head over to the home of Game Master, the New Warriors, and also X-Force. Now, I want to jump back over to Karma. Here's the reason why. Okay, so earlier we saw that Karma was able to knock out Sienna Blaze and was able to save the lives of both Empath and also Moonstar. But then we kind of find out that wasn't completely true because we then saw Sienna Blaze hand over Karma, Empath, and Moonstar over to Game Master. But here comes the big catch. We kind of find out that the entire time it was Karma in control of the mind of Sienna Blaze as a way to get close to the Upstart organization and also Game Master. And so she wakes up and wakes up the other people who are all hooked up to the machine earlier that's hooked up to Game Master. Now, once you have everybody woken up, you then have everybody try to go to the nearby door to get the heck out of there. But then they're confronted by Sienna Blaze. And you have Sienna say, I actually tricked you, Karma. I made you believe that you had control over me. But in reality, I allowed you to take over me so that I could then hand you over to the boss, which is Game Master. And so you didn't have Sienna Blaze knock out every single member of the entire hostages. And then you have Game Master say, I'm going to use you guys as a way to fight against the people who are coming here to save your lives. And this leads into the final chapter. And so now we have to jump into New Warriors issue number 46. Now, when we do, we pick up with both teams arriving to the base of Game Master. Now, this is a rare time when it comes to Marvel Comics. What I mean by that statement is that usually when you have two teams just crossing over, they always got to fight against one another and then kind of realize on the same side and then work together to bring down the enemy. Except this time you have both parties arrive and be like, hey, So you're here to bring down Game Master to save your friends like we are. Okay, cool. You know what? Let's go ahead and work together and attack the base right now. Now, here's the problem though, because for our heroes, they know that Game Master had most likely already read their thoughts and kind of know their entire game plan. But either way, you do have our heroes go out of their way to save their friends. Now, for our heroes, they were correct because when it comes to Game Master, he knew they were coming. And so what he did was he took over the minds of the different people that he had captured earlier and began to use them against the heroes who came there to save their friends. And so now you have both sides fighting against one another, and each side is losing people left and right. Now, no one is officially dying, but either way, you have folks getting seriously hurt. Now, there was one person who had tagged along, and Cable had no idea she did tag along, and that would be Paige Guthrie, the sister to Cannonball. No one had idea that she had tagged along. Now, when it comes to Paige, we kind of do learn that she has the ability to shed her skin, but we get a better idea of her powers later on in X-Men comics and later coverage videos we're going to do down the road. But either way, when it comes to Paige, she finds her brother and he's knocked out, and she's kind of wondering how seriously injured he could possibly be. And so she calls out the Game Master, hoping that she can make some kind of deal with him to have a way to stop him. Now, for Paige, she realized what she can do to bring down Game Master. And honestly, for me, this was a smart plan because she realized that for Game Master, he loves playing games. And so, what can you do to bring down somebody who loves playing games? Well, give him a new idea of a new game coming soon that he could play so that he'll get tired of playing the old game. And so you have Paige say, hey, listen, Game Master, here comes a new generation of mutants coming into the world. Young mutants like me who are learning about their abilities, but also wondering what to do with their abilities. And so she's saying there are going to be people out there who are going to try to recruit these young mutants over to their side. And matter of fact, you could be one of those people. You're playing a game against other people who are trying to recruit the new generation of mutants coming into the world. It's kind of like playing chess with the new generation of mutants. And so for Game Master, he loves the idea so much. And so he lets go of everybody that he had captured earlier and said, I'll see you in like 3, 4, or 5 years because, again, you, Paige, are part of the next generation of mutants coming into the world. And sooner or later, you and those other mutants are going to run into me and the other people out there who are going to try to recruit you and the other ones popping up left and right. And then he leaves. Now, the story kind of ends on a quick, fast note where you now have both the New Warriors, but also the X-Force team kind of wondering, was Paige's move was the right move to make? Because now you are talking about the idea of the possibility of Game Master coming back down the road to get revenge against our heroes, or really coming back down the road to bring in a new world of evil new mutants to use against good mutants in future battles. But either way, the teens do relax. Now, we also come to find out the Von Strucker twins have been arrested and detained by X Factor. But yeah, when it comes to this book, it ends on that note right there. So with that being said, please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.